Yeah, well, if, I don't know. I guess we'll just do it like we always did with Ginny and have Chris sit in the audience.
Oh, you can sit there. You guys' call. I'm missing a document.
Chris, if you wanna sit there or there, that way.
Come on up.
When it's your turn to speak, you got a microphone that should be on.
Okay. Amy, let's say you're on speakerphone, so.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, Melissa. We're in about 2 minutes. We're gonna call the meeting to order.
That sounds good.
5:58. Allegiance. Hi, Wade.
No. Supplemental appropriations release.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock, and we'll call the meeting to order.
Harsted.
Hi.
Schrum.
Aye.
Fire. Osby.
Here. Pledge allegiance. Back there behind the Christmas tree. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a little invocation. I'd like to thank the Lord for giving us somewhat good weather. I think we all want a little snow, probably right before Christmas would be fine. Give a shout out to Dalton Foster, who's in the hospital, and I hope you can help him heal up, and watch over all our armed forces and police forces and everybody that keeps us safe, and also our teachers and daycare workers. Thank you. Amen. A motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Move to approve the November 11 and 18 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Financials and claims. Everybody had a chance to look the.
I have just a couple of quick questions.
Yep.
Department 42900 other protection.
That is for the warning sirens, the tornado sirens. That's, Yeah.
That's for the one that was broke, right?
Pardon?
That's for the one that was broke.
There are a few departments that have gone over that, but that was because, yeah, the siren broke and had to repair.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the financials and claims?
So moved.
Second?
There's a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Now, I think what most people are here for is the bid opening. The sealed bids for, we got the new shop, 202 East Main Street, and we'll start with that one.
Make sure we have them all in order. Okay. Okay, bid submitted by Jeremy Papke for 202 East Main Street in the amount of $210,000. It's signed, cashier's check as is included. So that would be first bid. Okay. Bid submitted by Prairie Commercial. Cashier's check included for the amount. The bid amount is $217,760. So that was submitted by Thad Johnson on behalf of Prairie Commercial.
Okay, by who?
Thad Johnson. We're gonna compile the bid listing here later.
Yeah, I'm just keeping.
Yep. Uh, Okay. Bid submitted by Brendan Burnt for $100,000 for 202 East Main Street. Cashier's check provided in the amount. $100,000 was the bid.
100,000.
Yep.
Looks like it's from Iowa.
Yep. Yes. Brandon Burnt on behalf of Dents LLC. And here is the last bid. Okay. Wade McKinney, bid, cashier's check enclosed, bid amount of $231,000. So that would make this the high bid.
How do you guys wanna do this? You wanna, award, if everything is there, the surety?
Yep.
Have a motion to award right now or open the,
What do we need to do?
We have award on the bid as a potential item on there. So, state law says, right, you can award bid or reject all bids.
Right.
I'd make a motion to award to the high bid.
Okay.
Second.
That'd be the high bid submitted by
Wade
Wade
McKinney?
McKinney in the amount of $231,000.
Is there any other discussion?
Okay, can we do a roll call on this one?
Sure.
If that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Harsted,
Aye.
Schrum,
Aye.
Byer.
Aye.
Okay, all aye.
Okay, old shop.
Okay, Old Schrum.
What did they appraise that building at?
What's that, Melissa?
Building was appraised at
What did East Main
180.
appraise at?
185.
Thanks.
Okay, let's do Old Schrum.
And the next bid, the old garage, was appraised at 35.
Okay. Bid submitted by Brian Rammel in the amount of $41,000 and 111 for the old shop. Cashier's check included. Bid has been signed. It's signed. Okay, another bid submitted by Prairie Commercial, Thad Johnson, we have Prairie Commercial, for the property at 207 North First Avenue in the amount of $22,760. Cashier's check is included. Bid is signed. Okay. Bid submitted by Wade Mulder for the old shop in the amount of $31,100 for 207 North First Avenue. It's signed. We have the cashier's check. Okay. Bid submitted by Melius Enterprises LLC in the amount of $22,151. Bid is signed. Cashier's check is included. Okay. A bid submitted by Denny and Ginny Beck for 207 North First Avenue in the amount of $30,100. Cashier's check included. Bid is signed. What's the revised one? What's the old bid? Revised one, okay. Okay, bid submitted by Nicholas Nielsen in the amount of $20,500. The bid is signed and cashier's check is included.
What was the amount? 20?
The amount was $20,500. That was it. Those are all the bids.
Total of 6 bids?
Total of 6 bids, yep. No, there's a 7th one, but it's a duplicate bid.
Okay, and the high bid of 41 was Brian Rammel, and there's surety with it.
Yep, there is the cashier's check submitted for the bid amount of 5%. 20% of the bid amount.
They want to make a motion?
Motion to approve the high bid.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we'll do a roll call, sorry.
Harsted,
Aye.
Schrum,
Aye.
Beyer.
Aye.
Well, I bid awarded to. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all.
Yep.
For taking the time and being interested,
So, We'll
city of Crooks.
mail back the cashier's checks tomorrow. We'll just make a electronic,
I thought we split them up.
we mail them to our bank account. So, yeah, and then,
So we're okay?
yep, all good.
Okay. Consent calendar items. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar item?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I need one item of discussion.
Nope.
Where do we stand with Winters and the occupancy and all of that?
They have their occupancy certificate. I followed up with Jeff.
Okay.
They have, they're working diligently on trying to get it, all worked up.
Fine with me then.
Okay,
Gotta vote on it.
I'll do a question on the sheriff's contract. Is it the same, did it go up from last year?
Yeah, yeah, always go up, but it's under budgeted amount for next year, like a little bit. Patrick reviewed it, I reviewed it. We had some comments. Traditionally, it's very hard to change those contracts, the language, but
And, for anybody on item F there under consent calendar, Chris Krogman over there on the end is our new public works director. So, we need to get him on as a signatory. So, did we have a motion?
Yep.
on-
Yep.
Gotta vote on it.
What can I do?
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Open comments, anybody under open comments? I just want to clear up one thing, and it's really, has to do with First Avenue, and I know you guys are on the corner there. Jake, what's the latest plan now? We're gonna let bids on the rest of the water, but that's not gonna do anything with the First Avenue street, or is it?
Like First Avenue North, Fourth Street there?
Yeah,
You're about replacement of the existing water tower with that project, but that.
okay. But then after that, our project, we're talking about for 2027,
Correct, yeah, that would be a funding application next year.
that would include First Ave and Main Street, curb and gutter and drainage. And I think we're splitting it up to do a second part, going further east. Anyway, I know you guys, been coming in, you're right in the
We're
corner there.
retired now, so we don't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
We come and keep up.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody with open comments? Okay, there's no public hearings. So, I'm gonna turn it over to the city engineer, which is Jake, in the front row here from DGR.
You bet. Few items worthy of discussion here, that, the first one regards to the east side lift station. We have sent some of the final documentation to H&W contractor, in an effort to close that project out. The big ticket item there is, of course, the damages. John was invited to come here today. He did have a conflict. In his defense, he was given about a week notice, not much time, but he did reach out and say, ask what the January meeting was, but, also what came to mind with Mason, maybe doing either a special meeting where it was a full council or a smaller meeting with, council that would be considered a quorum sometime between now and the end of the year. So that's kind of the next step. I don't know if there's tons to discuss until H&W's in the room, but curious, I guess, on some feedback there, if this is a wait until January conversation, or if there's reason to suggest a separate meeting or.
What's the, amount of liquidated damages right now?
So the project is fully complete, ready for payment. The amount is $232,000.
332?
232,500. That's pretty much all related to the final completion. So they did meet substantial completion, and the lift station was more or less operational. It was the cleanup efforts, paving, punch list items that drug on for over a year that the liquidated damages are associated to. $232,000. We have not received a formal response or information that we, other than, like I said, we invited them to come here, they will make it work. And looking forward to setting up something over that meeting, January meeting or kind of come.
I mean, what do we need to do? To me, this is in their court.
Yeah, it would just be, HW is just their, they'll come to January meeting unless we feel like we want them to.
I mean, the liquidated damages, we're gonna deduct that from final payment, right?
Correct.
We've held it back so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, it hasn't been paid, I mean, it's, you guys have had that every cage, you know, that
I mean, they can come whenever they want, I guess. They're not gonna get their money until they do.
Well, we have to decide if he's gonna try and probably talk us out of 100,000 of damages. We have to decide.
Have to be awful compelling to get me to budge off a nickel. You sign a contract, it's in the contract.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it.
That's what they're gonna do, and that's why we give them the opportunity
Sure.
to come and. That it's a big chunk of money that, we could use, I mean, for the project. Okay,
Yeah, we'll plan for January on that one then, assuming, unless HW pushes for a further meeting. East Fourth Street Railroad Crossing, I believe there's a couple of exhibits that were included in your packet there. This kind of corresponds to an earlier meeting we had with BNSF, excuse me, and the DOT. There's kind of what we're calling a short-term and long-term improvement scenario there. The long-term improvements would coincide with a larger street utility project, similar to what Butch had mentioned, into 2027 and beyond. So there's no really thought or consideration to feasibly construct a standalone crossing improvement there. So the short-term / temporary, what have you, version there is more or less what could be considered to get by, if you will, until those longer-term improvements are done. And just for the record, there's no code or anything that crossing's in violation of. This is just with the extra measures taken to improve the safety of the intersection, for some extra lighting and some additional warnings by way of pavement markings there.
so the proposed light pole, is that what we as the city have proposed, or did the railroad?
That was something that we had proposed as a collaboration with the city.
So everything on this has been done except the light pole. We did all the markings.
So, yeah, it would just be a matter of kind of education here, and then also, I don't know if we got a quote for that light pole.
No, if I recall correctly, they will install it for free. That was put in the light pole.
And then just add it to
Yeah, that was added to the light. The only other option that we have is those yellow signs, those RR ones. You can install solar panels and have them blink, but because they're ours, so that'd be the only other thing in the, I guess, short term that we can do. It's just your guys' call how you want to proceed. It's
Well, I think we had a meeting down there. I don't know if you were there, Mike Allen was there, I was there. Jake, Tobias, and then the railroad, people were there. And, this is pretty much what their suggestion was that we do right now.
Yeah, like I said, that was their understanding, and nobody's expecting elaborate efforts until that street is completely reconstructed.
Yeah.
And when that time comes, there's design standards for reconstructing that crossing, but then it's just,
I mean, do we need to give them the go-ahead to add a light? I mean, that's
I was,
something,
you
but,
know, we was gonna say, go ahead, do it. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
that's not much else.
I don't know if there's, for a motion needed, this was just kind of educational and FYI.
Yeah.
was there cost behind the blinking lights or the?
Well, there will be a cost, because you have to, I mean, we can get a quote for those too. That's, I mean, I don't think that's gonna be a substantial cost, it's just, have to figure out when you wanna do it, and I would suggest 2025, given, this year's, other outflow end.
Well, let's just go with the light and readdress it.
Yeah, and I know Excel had installed, I think, an additional light or tweaked, I think, the
Yeah,
lighting.
you can
It-
see better at,
They added a light on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's just, it's not gonna be, I think, what everyone had envisioned, just this brightly illuminated
No, we don't-
crossing until you do the reconstruction.
Your thoughts there, Bill? Speaking of lighting, the third item there is shared use path lighting. Been a few conversations over the last few months in regards to phase 2 and phase 3 lighting. SMGA, Metro Road Alliance, have made the city aware of a T-Mobile hometown grant. It's a $50,000 grant that is meant for what they call shovel-ready projects. Through some brainstorming, we have come up with some lighting options for that grant. There's not a lot of precedent on this grant to know kind of with this, how competitive it is, to be quite honest with you, but it seems kind of like it's a pretty easy application and really no risk or many strings attached. So the intent, if there's desire there from the city, would be to prepare an application for the lighting on phase 2 or phase 3 or a combination thereof. It hopes to get up to $50,000 in grant money to contribute towards those lighting costs. The conversation that we've had to date was that kind of the sweet spot cost for a total project cost would be between that $50,000 and $100,000 value. Keeping it less than $100,000 would simplify it in terms of bidding requirements, things of that nature, and keeping it in excess of 50 will show the city's commitment to the project by not asking for a fully funded project, but rather a portion of local contribution on top of the asking for it.
T-Mobile's gonna look at, if we're given 50, what's the city gonna?
Yeah, there's nothing that suggests that they put much merit in that. That's just kind of speaking broadly in terms of our experience with grant applications, is that as a grant applier, if you can show a level of commitment by contributing cash on top of the grant, so funds, if you will, they'll take more time to do that.
And I believe conversation was, we talked about every other, spreading the distance out with the light poles. Am I right on that?
No, so.
Or doing the same
Yeah,
distance?
I think as to not compromise the lighting metrics, if you will, the spacing would have to stay about 150 feet. I think part of the conversation was that considering the aesthetics of the poles are the same for the outlet versus no outlet options, we could look at alternating the more expensive lights, such that the banners and lighting was on every other pole as you were on the north and south sides of town. That would, possibly get us to where a phase 2 and phase 3 project combined would be thereabouts $100,000. Whereas if we do all of the lights, banner ready, that's going to be in excess of $100,000. Or we could look at doing one phase or the other with banner ready and then look towards the future for another phase.
When's that have to be submitted?
End of the year.
End of the year?
Yeah, 12/31. So if it's something we want to consider, we'll need some direction tonight. Otherwise, I do believe it's a quarterly application. So if it's time to mull it over, we could look at a March 31 application as well.
I'd like to proceed, and I like the idea of going every other.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we should give it a shot.
So I agree with also submitting for the grant. A little more questions on whether you do it every other or doing all of phase 2 or phase 3. You guys could tell me more about that.
Well, phase 2 is from, Main Street north. And phase 3 is from Pump and Stuff to the school,
Oh, okay.
the walking path that's in.
Downtown and over, and then the walking path out.
Yeah, we have poles and lights from Pump and Stuff down to or just past Main Street. And so, it'd be from there north up the library and then from Pump and Stuff south to the Diane Street where the school is.
And then are there bids already submitted for cost of phase 2, 3, and this every other option that you just, as the third option?
Well, we're talking about lighting, the sidewalks in.
Yeah.
We
So
have-
like the
we
cost
have
for
pricing.
lighting on phase 2, the cost of lighting on phase 3, and the cost of lighting for doing every other.
We have quotes from Excel. Excel Energy would install and own the lights as the utility provider. So we have quotes for phase 2 and 3 as standalone projects, where we're kind of combining those and inferring a little bit on what a combined quote would be. But it would be our intention to get that updated quote prior to submitting the application, so we have that hard number.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
My microphone's dead anyway. Okay, the slurry seal next.
Do we need any motion to proceed with the grant at all?
I would, I really would, and then narrow the scope and make sure, also, you have to really see what the outlay is. Like, this is best case, you get it, but then you're on the hook for it. Like, so I would say make a motion, which phase, and then go from there.
So motion to proceed with every other light.
Well, it's phase 1 or phase 2, right?
No.
Phase 2 or phase 3?
It'd be all of it with every other one, right?
I'll tell you right now, doing the whole project, the finding that money is gonna be very tough. Like, that's gonna be
What
nigh.
was our cost if we do it projected, if we did every other for the whole thing?
If we, well, so
Or
if
we
we
were like
do,
82 or something?
I'm kind of inferring $90,000 to $100,000, because, if all lights are being already combined, it's like 130. If all lights are not being ready, it's closer to like 70.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of inferring by saying
I would say that we try and knock out phase 2.
it's entire, it's with all being ready or with the every other.
I would still stick with every other.
So that,
Yeah,
that
maybe
would push you towards
if
the-
we're successful with it, then maybe we take another run at it.
Yeah, I don't wanna be the Debbie Downer here.
Yeah.
I just-
No, I totally get
I
that.
think it's just like, then take a stab at it,
Yeah, so phase 2
Is going
would
north,
be
right?
about 60,
Yeah, I would say probably that's a good,
which the city would cough up then 30 grand.
yeah, we would.
And what Tobias is getting at, we've already set the budget for next year. We really don't have the 30 grand, but then we can try and see if we get it, I guess. So is there a motion? You want to put that in a motion?
Yeah, I'll put it in motion for try for phase 2,
Phase 2 every other.
Every other or every?
every other.
Every other phase 2.
Every other, okay.
You need the lights down by Bob's, because people walk through there at night and cars don't see them.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Fourth item there is the 2024 Crooks City closeout. I do believe we had this as a previous agenda item a few months ago. It just took a lot of teeth pulling to get the final docs from Aztec. We just recently got those, so this is just a reiteration and notice, if you will, that that's been received in proper form and ready to cut the check and close that out.
Yeah, I need a motion to approve all the closeout documents and the disbursement of the payment.
Everything's good for you guys?
Yep.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the closeout of the slurry seal. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And just a quick note on Thursday, seal, we did, kind of collaborate as a city and, or, is there a street representative, and, intending not to do a 2025 version of the Thursday seal, and rather use those funds for more lavish street repairs, and all that type consideration. Just an FYI there.
So we're not gonna do any story this summer?
No Thursday seal. Last item there, revised quote for sewer repairs on North First Avenue. The original quote had, I believe, 8 sewer repairs, and then, or joint repairs, and then some additional fee for some additional exploration. As we discussed, that's in a presumed phase 2 project area, so the life we need out of that sewer is down to a few years as opposed to decades. So we requested vendor to limit that quote to 4 joint repairs. We got video, there was 4 that were considerably worse than the others. So this revised quote is reflective of just those 4 repairs and some heavy cleaning, following repairs to remove any existing sludge from that sewer. Like I said, that's gonna kind of buy us the 3 years we need out of this sewer before it is replaced in its entirety, with the next phase of construction.
So because we're doing that project in 2027, we said, let's not spend a whole bunch of money we're gonna redo again. So we're taking the 3 or 4 worst spots. What we have is groundwater leaking into the sewer line. So we're getting clean water going into the sewer. And it's probably in more places than these. They put a camera down there. So they're gonna go in there and slide. They don't, they gotta dig a hole, or do they go from the manhole? Okay, so there's no digging, but they slide a sleeve in there where it's leaking. And so, if you notice, there's a little dip in the street right there between the old bank and Critters. Right now, you can see it, and that's what's causing that. So we're hoping this will get us by until we get the main project done. And so we got a new quote, for $13,870. And if they do some other inspecting while they're in there, so to speak, it's $85 per hour for the man and $225 an hour for the camera. Is that?
Yeah, it would be our recommendation not to request any
Okay.
additional inspection. I mean, we know what's down there.
We know what it is, we're not.
And that's for the lateral, those are also gonna be replaced.
They cameraed it once already, right?
Yeah.
They can do the lateral, so that's what it's
Oh.
for, you know.
The lateral would be what goes into the house or the building.
It would be our recommendation not to do any more exploration.
Okay. So we need a motion to accept the quote from Bender Sewer and Drain LLC for $13,870 to repair the sewer.
Is this fit budgeted by?
I mean,
A sewer repair usually,
yeah, I mean, it should work. I mean,
I guess my problem is, if it's something we're gonna yank out of the ground in 3 years, what's the benefit for the next 3 years of, I mean, yeah, it'll be less work on the lift station and less water in the lagoon, right? Is there any other benefit? I mean, are we in danger of losing a street or anything? I mean, I don't get it.
The only, certainly, you know, it's not a, you know, it's not costing you $13,000 between now and when it's replaced for the extra groundwater that's coming in. The main reason to consider it would be, delaying a failure of the sewer. You know, I'm not suggesting it's gonna, you know, fail in the next 3 years. For all intents, it won't. But this is extending the life of it if we believe that it doesn't have to. I believe you make a great point. I mean, it's still $13,000, a lot less than the 30 that was originally quoted, but it's still, you know.
30 was to do everything that was leaking. So it's just, if we don't do it and the pipe caves in or something, then it's emergency and we dig up the street and probably replace possibly more at that time, or?
Yeah, that's a risky run. I mean, it's,
So without putting you on the spot, by putting you on the spot, you're our expert. Do we need to do this?
no, you don't.
Okay.
Okay.
So a motion then to, what, not,
or no action or
no
rejected.
action, no motion? Okay. I like that.
That's all I have, barring any other questions.
Well, I should back up and let Chris, put his word in there, as he's now, it's under his,
I'm still trying to kind of figure out what I'm getting myself into a little bit, trying to find out where things are at and how things are going. It's a little bit of a different change, obviously, but, the bird bath I noticed on First Avenue, and I was kind of concerned about it. And then I had heard that you'd done some research on it. We talked about slurry seal, trying to figure out what was the next best option. Maybe trying to do a more extensive mill and overlay, just to kind of delay the slurry seal a year and save that money and put it into the next roll around. So, water and wastewater, it's something that I'm having to pick up and kind of find out where I'm at. And then, of course, with the gas services, that's something new that I haven't dealt with ever. So, a lot of learning still.
so you're okay with the decision we just made, or 6-1, or?
Well, the engineer knows more than I do on it when it comes to that, so I would lean on him, and I think that's the correct assumption.
Bless you.
Boy, you better get some tall boots
Yeah,
on.
let's move on.
Well,
Move on.
that's right.
So you guys are talking according to the main course where my building, so you go from that intersection north, or were you guys talking the sewers
To the north side of this
north? North
intersection.
of Main, okay, so critters, okay. Okay, my building's okay.
If it was your place, we'd be making a motion for the building owner to pay for it.
Part of what we talked about last meeting was that, you know, this is one of many great tile segments in town, so, there's reason to believe if we camera video inspection all of the place sewer in town, there'd be other segments that
Yeah.
are as bad or worse than this segment. It just so happens this was one that we investigated. You know, so this is, it's all part of a bigger capital improvements plan to get it all replaced. It's just a matter of not investing a bunch
We're
of
gonna
money
move this
into
long,
it.
otherwise we're gonna have quorum
It's only
issues.
gonna-
Because it might get late.
Do what now?
We need to move this meeting along, otherwise we're gonna have quorum issues with
Oh,
voting.
we need to shorten the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're doing good, I think.
okay.
I hope. Okay, let's, we got that done, so, utility, unless you got anything else, Jake. And, I'll start with, our mower, our Kubota, and the city has always had a,
Reports.
That's down the agenda yet.
Yep.
Yep.
Even though it's on the top of your phone.
So all the reports.
it's under, oh, I gotta wait,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead. We're not gonna talk about the mower yet, cause it's farther down the agenda.
Just kind of give you a report of what I'm finding.
Yeah, just a general, who you are and what you're doing and where you came from.
I do have my class 1 and almost all my class 2 water and wastewater certificates. I'm one short of my wastewater treatment. What I'm finding is, we need to figure out kind of the direction to go with some of the testing. We've been doing third-party testing, so this is something that the State Courier Health Lab does we can eliminate that cost and just have the State Courier pick up these, wastewater samples. Just trying to narrow down some of the testing that goes with your daily water, make sure your chlorine residual's good.
Take a vote on everyone.
Other than that, it's still a lot of learning, trying to figure out where some of the things are going, are failing on some of the gas meters, water meters, try to narrow down some of that. It's 9 days on the job so far, so it's a little bit of a throw you in the fire, so. They've been really helpful, both Chad and Jason. I mean, and Fred himself too, has been helpful. I mean, I think they see the need that a fresh face, it'll help. So we just need to figure out what direction we need to go to and get some of these issues corrected and try to get things moving forward a little bit better and streamline it a little better, so. But, other than that,
Well, we're anxious, for Chris and, kind of doesn't replace Jenny, he does more than that because he'll learn the gas, but he'll be over water, sewer, streets, gas, everything. And I just remind everybody, this Thursday at 10:30, we're having a coffee and brunch here for Jenny Beck, who retired, put over 30 years in. So if you can stop by, it will be giving her a declaration. It'll be Jenny Beck Day. Okay, economic development.
There was a great call this morning with Governor's Office of Economic Development, kind of going through the budget address that was just unveiled last week and what some of that means. Not only what the governor actually said in her speech, but the actual 300 and some page document that is the full budget. A lot to sort through. Not a lot of individual impact to the city, but a lot of individual impact and a lot of things tangentially to the city. So more to come there. Obviously, that's the governor's version of it, and the legislature has to dig into it now. So there is a SMGA conference tomorrow, which is going as well, all over the sexy topic of wastewater and water in general for the region. So hope to learn some more there. Really about all I got.
Okay, I'm gonna defer to Chris again on streets, although you've just been here a short while. Anything new or odd or?
with the slurry seal delaying it for the year, we kind of looked at one of the actual, and I think it's 4th Street. I think West 4th Street, that's starting to have a lot of traffic and it's starting to. 7th Street, sorry. This is gonna be a hard thing for me to get used to. But you can see that the road's starting to kind of curl a little bit. And it's something that we need to address before it gets worse, and maybe the mill overlays kind of the route we're thinking there. just to try to correct some of that issue. So we might look into it and see what we can get done in certain parts. It might not all be at once, but it's something that we see a lot of wear, and it's a high traffic street, so I kind of looked at that. And then some of the other streets that, you know, obviously trying to do the different phases of construction when it comes to water and wastewater, and also the streets part of it, and curb and gutter is hard to figure out how far you go ahead on it, so. But that's kind of why we delayed the slurry seal, just to kind of address a concern that's going to be maybe a larger concern in the end, so.
Okay, thank you. Planning and zoning, I'll just update, Jeff Nelson is now the director, would that be correct?
He's a chairman.
Chairman
Chairman.
of P and Z. And, so he's gonna be working with them and hope to get them more involved as a group. And anything else?
They're meeting next week on Monday, so join in for the fun.
Okay. Allen Government Buildings,
Nothing to report.
okay.
I'm quiet.
Mike Parks,
Parks are closed down for the winter. We are working on an ice rink in Sunset Park. Drive down there, the nuts and bolts of it are there. They're gonna a little finish work to do tomorrow, and I believe they're gonna fill it tomorrow. So, any chance, might be skating by Saturday.
and I'll just add to that, Mike talked to me and I talked to a couple people. I said, go ahead with $1,600. And now I believe it's gonna run over. They're short a few boards. Is it,
Yeah, we need 7 more 2x12s.
okay? And they're 20 some bucks a piece or 30 some
I
bucks?
think 1836.
Okay.
So it'll be like, so
So,
smidge at that.
You think one of those volunteers could go pick them up, or they expect,
Are we grabbing them, or I don't know.
you know?
Well, we have the 8-foot utility box. We might be able to make those work in there. I don't know how long, 12 foot? They're 10s? Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so then they should work in there. One thing I do want to point out, and it was brought up to me too, was maybe having some way to mark the corners of it. Obviously, if we get a major snowfall, somebody might not see that it's there. And that's kind of the,
I think the plywood comes in there.
okay,
I'm not sure.
okay. I wasn't
Take a
sure
look
on
at
the
it. I
design,
agree.
so,
I want to take a look at it when they're done.
Well, Mike, if you would work with Chris, and I'm gonna apologize to Chris, because we had to, Mike had to run and get a tarp, and, not being used to Chris, we talked to Chad, and then, anyway, we're getting that straightened out. I just wanted to say that, Chris is the guy. He's over Chad, he's over Jason, he's over Fred. He is directly under Tobias, so don't wanna skip over him. Finance, Tobias?
Really just the end of year appropriations, and another major item that I've been trying to work out with the DOT is what exactly we do all on that second phase of that West Ave Trail, because the numbers differed from 2023 was 170. They told us it's less than that now, so we haven't gotten an answer, but that hopefully gets resolved by the end of the year. End of year entries are gonna start to be entered, and just closing out the year. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
Less.
Yeah, us too. I mean, it's,
Code enforcement, animal control,
one thing I'll mention is, since the winter season's coming up, make sure you clear the sidewalks and your fire hydrants and mailboxes within 48 hours of a event. That's really the main thing. We don't really have many code issues going on right now. I'll say the usual thing, make sure you get your dogs licensed and registered, and that will, that's it.
it only costs $1 for a dog license, and it gets out. It's a lot easier for us to know who it is instead of sending it to the dog pound.
Yeah.
Pick a date for the end of the year meeting.
31st is on a Tuesday, I believe.
Yep. I'll be drinking by 6 in the morning that day. No, I'm just kidding. I don't drink.
So we do Monday? the
Yep,
30th?
whichever works. You guys pick.
Does that work, Alan?
Yeah,
Do like 6 o'clock that Monday?
Okay.
Melissa, is that okay?
Yep,
Mondays,
yep, Monday works.
6 o'clock, Monday, the 30th, okay. All right, now, equipment, machinery additions, replacements, I'm gonna let, Chris back to the floor.
I came into this a little bit, I got kind of apprised by it a little bit. Sounds like this mower's been 8 years. So usually with mowers, they need to get replaced after a certain amount of years just because of the amount of hours that build up on it. They start to nickel and dime you. One of the trade-ins that we're getting off the new mower that we're trying to get to replace this mower, we're getting $14,000 on trade-in. So that essentially takes it to just around $14,292.48 for a new mower. So you're upgrading a mower that's 8 years old, and essentially getting a brand new one. So it's not adding to the fleet, it's just replacing and trading in one. So I guess that's kind of the thought, that it's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to some of that, because obviously as you start to use equipment for so long, other things start to develop. You have to replace parts, you have to replace, I mean, you might even have to replace a deck, and so decks get expensive, wheels, everything else that comes with it. If you can get 14,000 in a trade-in on an 8-year-old mower, that's pretty good.
Well, our mowers, we worked the heck out of them. We got a lot of grass.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed. You have a lot of grass to mow, a lot. I mean, I didn't account for the flag football field, which that's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
and then just down at Heritage Pond, I mean, it's, yeah.
I'd like to ask for a motion on the, replacement of the mower.
Move.
Melissa or Al?
I'll second
Alan seconded. All those in favor, aye?
it. Aye.
Are you there, Melissa?
Sorry, I,
Okay. All right, now we're gonna talk about, Chris, about a service truck.
One thing that I've noticed on coming into this new is that you have really essentially only 2 service trucks. The Tahoe, I've heard, needs major expensive repairs done to it to make it to be reliable, really. I mean, to be honest, I drove it the other day and I found out there was no heat on the one side because the blend door needs to be replaced. And the frame is very rusted. It floats a little bit when you turn, so it's in need of repair. But I mean, how much do you spend on repairs? I know it's tight with the budget, but in my mind, we ran into this week, we were short a service truck. Obviously because Mike had to use it and then go get that tarp, which, I mean, that he did that part for us, so that's great. But with not having a service truck available, we had the parade coming up, we had that one decorated, so we were essentially with just the Tahoe. Also, the thing I see is Fred's having used the tractor to go back and forth, and I think that's a bad thing because you're putting miles on a tractor that shouldn't be used that way. If you replace the Tahoe with a service truck, that opens up the possibility of having somebody to be on call all the time instead of one person doing it all the time, and then also expanding it to where you have the tools that you need and not wasting time to go and get those tools from the shop. They're in that truck ready to go. This is one thing that I did at my job, my previous employer. We had everything in the truck, so it cut down the time having to respond to emergency calls, water issues, anything like that. So I've done a lot of checking into service trucks. Obviously, they're not cheap. We're not talking brand new, but a service truck would be the best thing going forward. There is anywhere from, you can spend up to 30,000, you can spend 36,000, you can spend 18,000. But, I do have 2 leads on 2 service trucks. I'm not looking to get 2, it's just the one has 41,000 miles for 30,000 and it's a 2015. That's pretty good mileage for 41,000 miles on a 2015, and it's also got a service body on it. There's another one that's the same price, and it has, I believe, 69,000 miles on it, service truck with service body, so same year. They're one owners, both trucks were. Only problem is they're way down in North Platte, Nebraska. And service bodies are hard to find. I mean, once they are on the market, they're gone instantly because just the value of having those. The Tahoe is not a good option because you can't store the tools in it like you could a service truck. So I guess I have a couple different estimates on trucks and a couple I've been looking at. So I guess my mind, it makes more sense to have another service truck. So.
So if we go ahead and get one, we get rid of the Tahoe, you would take the black pickup, or would that just float between?
I think the talk was that we wanted to have that service truck as a service body for the person that's on call.
Okay,
And then we could work it out to where, you know, it's always available for that person that's on call, but yet it also could be in the fleet too. I don't know if I'd get rid of the Tahoe just for the fact that Fred's driving the tractor back and forth. So what are you out by having him drive that back and forth in town? You aren't going to get much for it if it needs that much repairs. So if it's an in-town truck, I don't think that's a bad issue either. That kind of leaves that as an option instead of having using a tractor back and forth. So, but if you want to surplus it, that's up to you guys too. I mean, it does only have like 140,000 miles
what
on
do we
it.
want to do tonight?
Have to figure that one out. I'll spread it, enterprise funds, because you would, you have the outflow, but the actual expenditure would be over the course of 5-10 years, because you're depreciating it, so, you have that ask for an asset trade, I really have to see. I mean, general fund's pretty much tapped out, after tonight with the additional trail. Now, given we have another month ahead of us for sales tax revenue, so that might be, a good funding source, but I mean, right now, tentatively, I would spread it out over the enterprise funds with seeing what we can put into the general fund or take out of the general fund.
Well, I would definitely be in favor of adding one. Is that something you could put a little pencil and paper and have ready for our end of year meeting?
We can, yeah. Yeah, so.
Well, I don't vote, but my, position is I think it's needed, but I think we get rid of the Tahoe. If it's unsafe or unreliable or whatever, we don't need to put any more money in it. I don't know in a small town like this, how, why Fred isn't, I don't know where he's driving to, but, that he doesn't get a ride with one truck or the other where he's going for now.
Yeah, and that's something that can be addressed too. We need to probably kind of correct that a little bit too, and maybe make sure that we coordinate with that. So, like I said, with 9 days on the job, it's a little tough to figure out exactly where we're at on some of this. It's just, I see the need for having a replacement for that Tahoe because it's not roadworthy. I mean, it is, but it's at what expense? And like I said, one of the things that comes with these service trucks, they pop up and you got to act on them quick or they're going to be gone and then you're looking again. So,
Well, the last one we bought, I think we paid $30,000 33
33 and a half, yeah.
that we bought a year and a half ago.
20 up, 2 years. Yeah, 10 years.
One thing I'll point out too is on that half ton that Jason drives, that's a shorter box too, so that's the other
Yeah,
thing.
that's, and it doesn't have a topper on it. If it was a long box and a topper or something, maybe we wouldn't be, so insistent, but he can't put the wrenches he needs.
Yeah, he has to pull the wrenches and the locator and everything out of that vehicle every day and put it back in every day, so that's just another added thing that you have to spend time, so.
So, where are we at on the service truck? Alan, what are you thinking?
Well, Toby's gonna figure
Okay, so we're gonna,
the money and then we're gonna bring it to the end of the year.
Okay. okay, and you also have a trailer on there.
Yeah, that was more for the fact that, with some of this hockey rink stuff, we had to have most of it delivered because we have no way to haul it with limited amounts. So the trailer also serves a point of bringing the mower back and forth between the parks. You don't want to be driving on the street with the mower, having to haul stuff back and forth. If it's on a trailer, it's a safer mode of transportation. And just for the fact that we would be able to move things a little easier if we had a trailer. Obviously, money's tight, and I don't know where that's going, but I prefer the service truck over the trailer, obviously.
Yeah, I think the trailer, we beg, borrow, or steal, and the mower, I'd like to try the shed out here that we're gonna empty. The stuff is stored in it, and it's going upstairs in the new shop, and be able to park a mower in there if it's working down on this end of town. We get fuel at pump and stuff, which is right there, but I know I'd have to go to the shop for servicing now and again, but if we could utilize this garage, small garage over here for a mower.
Yeah, part of the reason too with the trailers, if you ever had to do repairs on something and you had to send it somewhere else rather than in Crooks, that's another option that you have a trailer, you're able to trailer it. If you don't, then you gotta have somebody come pick it up, so that's extra cost involved and, yeah, so on and so forth.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you brought it up. We gotten by so far, and I think the truck is more important. Adopt new position titles for the public work staff. Now that we have Chris on, we want to give titles to Chad, Jason, and Fred. And I think, have you two guys talked about it? So what'd you come up with?
Well, Jason will
guess it's
be
on-
Public Works Utilities, Chad will be Public Works, Snow Removal, Streets, Parks and Recreation, Fred will be Government Buildings, Facilities, Mosquito Control, and Sanitation. That's what they do roughly right now. They're all gonna have other duties as assigned on there, so there will always be some cross working, but right now, those would be the areas that they already work on and would, let's use the word excel at.
Yeah, I think the goal is to keep them under a public works umbrella so they can do a little bit of everything, because cross-training is very important, especially when it comes to on-call and being able to do those jobs when somebody's gone, so.
Just need a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Melissa says aye. Approved, motion carried. We gotta get into the, where Mike goes, all the, ordinances, resolution. Second reading of ordinance 355. Ordinance 355, an ordinance of the city of Crooks, South Dakota, amending the 2023 revised Crooks zoning regulations by amending chapter 18, amendments and change of zone, section 1801, procedure, and chapter 19, conditional use permits, conditional uses. And, do I need? Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Roll
Aye.
call vote.
Oh, roll call.
Horsted,
Aye.
Schrum,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Okay, first reading of ordinance 356. An ordinance of the city of Crooks, South Dakota, providing for a supplemental appropriation for the fiscal year 2024. That's the first reading. Resolution 2024-34, a resolution of the City Council of Crooks, South Dakota, excluding real property from the municipal boundaries upon receipt of a petition to exclude property. I believe this deals with one.
Yep, one parcel out by the, one of the residential properties.
Out by
They-
the interstate.
Yep, by the interstate, they bought a buffer zone around. They're the ones who,
Move to approve.
you know,
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. City of Crooks Resolution 2024-35, a resolution of the City of Crooks to approve the annexation agreements between the City of Crooks and Haug Development LLLP, the City of Crooks, and Haug Properties LLC, and the City of Crooks, and Alliance Communications.
Move to approve.
This is, doesn't have to be roll call.
no, I mean,
Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
there's no second on that
There's
motion.
no second.
Oh. You got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Can I bring up one item? Because I know the infrastructure was a big discussion with the road. We cannot be compelled to do that unless we're negligent, so we cleared all of that up.
Yeah. Resolution 2024-36. A resolution to annex property contiguous to the City of Crooks upon receipt of a petition for voluntary annexation. Haug Properties LLC.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Resolution 2024-37, a resolution to annex property contiguous to the City of Crooks upon receipt of petitions for voluntary annexation. That would be Haug Development LLLP.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Did you say anything, Melissa?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion carried. Resolution 2024-38, a resolution to annex property contiguous to the City of Crooks upon receipt of petitions for voluntary annexation. That would be the Alliance Communications property.
Move to approve.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Why don't I have resolution 2024-39? A resolution by the City Council of the City of Crooks establishing compensation for the Crooks Planning and Zoning Chairman. I believe it's the same as the last
Yeah,
planning and zoning, so it's just a
yeah,
lateral.
because the title said,
Move to approve.
oh,
Second.
easy enough.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion to adopt cybersecurity policy.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. A motion to authorize Tobias to make a South Dakota Fit account for street maintenance funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. A motion to authorize Tobias to make a South Dakota Fit account for DW number 2 and CW number 3 for debt service on the Palmyra Water and Sewer Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
A motion for Tobias to make a South Dakota Fit account for CW number 4 debt service and depreciation reserve, sanitary sewer expansion, and new main lift station.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Last one is a motion to authorize Tobias to make a South Dakota Fit account for CW number 5 debt service and depreciation reserve for the east side lift station.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, and Mike,
Move
please.
to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Thank you. We weren't too far off.
1 minute distraction. We're good.
Thanks. I'm happy.
And next meeting is then Monday the 30th, is that right?
Yeah, the end of the year meeting.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Yep.